Good morning, everybody. How's it going? It is 9:28, and I do that every time. It is 9:28 Eastern Time, 2 minutes until the market opens. Precisely, I've actually got a minute and 6 seconds until the market opens. So, as you saw in the pre-market brief, futures have been pretty much flat as a board all the pre-market here. Just barely creep, low 4500s, like 4 or 5 point movement, not much at all. VIX been hovering out in the 1650 range. SPY has now, I'm going to switch to 3 minute here right before we open. SPY has popped up, kind of treaded sideways, and then the last hour or so has kind of creeped up here to this upper 450s, lower 441 range. So let me see here. Bam. All right, so 451, I'm looking at the September 3rd contracts today. Welcome. How y'all doing? 10,000 people. First time we've hit 10,000 on YouTube. So awesome accomplishment. If you are new, welcome to the channel. Let's get this week started off with a bang. I expect a little bit of a range day today with lower volatility, but yet bullish regardless. Bullish this week. I know after Jay Powell's pass the buck speech we had on Friday, where he completely avoided himself of all responsibility in terms of inflation. And here we are starting the day off with 451.05.06, climbing on up, green candles. NASDAQ popped up with this green candle, as well as the futures. All of the XLK, XLF, XLY is downward. XLB is pop-up green. XLE is green. XLK's got this nice green candle up there. FANG appears to be a mixed bag. A little bit of green and red. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Estab, my daughter's great. Thank you very much. Fully recovered. I myself is recovered as well after getting the vaccination last week. Had like extreme case of body ache and what is that? Cold sweats, like where you get the shivers. But I got over that within 24 hours. So fully recovered from that. Kids are great. Had a stomach bug with the son on Friday, so he's good. All good stuff, man. So thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Welcome everybody else. How is everybody doing? How was your weekend? How was your... actually, I'm pretty good at avoiding the man flu. My wife gives me credit for avoiding the man flu. So, but yeah, that hit me out of nowhere. I was fine, and like an hour later, I was terrible. So hopefully keeping the people in your thoughts down in Louisiana after that Category 4 hurricane hit this weekend. A lot of crazy stuff going on there. A lot of flooding out in the southeast as well. Nice big green candle coming up, 451.25. Old Army buddy's house got hit on. Yeah, it's terrible, man. It's rough. It's a direct hit from that hurricane. Not to mention all the crap going on in Kabul. A lot of drama going around in the world this weekend. A lot of drama. Body aches and chills were terrible. Lasted 12 hours. It sucks, Paul. Yeah. So hopefully the second one, that just reaffirms my that I did have COVID back in May. I know I had it. But yeah, that's apparently if you had COVID before, the first shot is pretty bad. So, all right, so 451.19 Qs, nice healthy big green candle. VIX popping down to 1639. Watch for the pivot down here to 1610 on the VIX. XLK is up there. XLF, SPY is just hovering right there. Take a look at the bonds. What are the bonds doing? They're just flat, kind of trickling along. Not really much going on there as well. Bullish today, I believe so. Low volatility bullish day. That's what I predict today. What's up, Ethan? How you doing? If y'all noticed, I posted, I know everyone was asking me to post a video on my TradingView setup and how I build my watch list, and I posted that this weekend yesterday. If you didn't see it, it is posted live, and not posted live, but it is posted in my educational series channel on YouTube. I know the next video is what I'm going to do. I'm going to break down what actually makes up the SPY. So you know what you're trading. I'm going to break down exactly what the weightings are for all the different X sectors. I'm going to be breaking down what's in each X sector and what encompasses all the SPY, so you actually know what's going on, what happens when different things fluctuate, and the weighting of each, and how to predict what's going to happen in certain market conditions. I think it's good to know those kind of backgrounds. So that'll be my next video. So hopefully you'll get something out of that. I'll be working on that this week. 451.21. We've popped up since 451. I think we opened at 450.99, I think is what we got at. So, yeah. Let's see. The open was at 450.97, and then we're now at 451.17. So we are 20 cents off of the morning open. I've got the 3 red lines pointed, support thrown up there as my support. Obviously, we don't have any resistance because we are at all-time highs. I'd predict mid 450s will be the ceiling this week. I'd be surprised if we blasted past that, although I've seen crazier things. Big red candle right there. Oh, not big red candle, but a red candle to bring it back down to 451. 20-cent sell-off right there. And now popping down even more. 450.91, 450.92. I'm inclined to buy the weakness. VIX is 1642. Looking forward to a good day and a good week. Me too, Lee Rat. Good week of fitness. Good week of making some money. And a good week of teaching y'all how to do this. I love spending time with y'all. It makes me excited to get up out of the bed, clap my hands right when my feet hit the floor, and get to it. So I hope y'all feel the same. What's up, Bree? How you doing? Hope you're enjoying your day as well. A little sunshine. Daily success. Long time no see. What's up, man? How you doing? Sean, how you doing? What's going on? Any positions open? Not yet. I'm currently looking at the September 3rd contracts, both for SPY and SPX. Let me take a look in here and figure out what my strikes are going to be. September 3rd on the SPY. Let's look at the deltas. Deltas are EM80, 0.40, 0.31. That's a big spread on the deltas there on a 452s. I think I'm going to stick with the 452s, given the little bit of bearishness we've got. The bearish candle, I should say, not overall bearishness, but bearish candle. 452 calls. And on the downside, let's go with the 449. So 449, 452s. So SPY, 452 calls, 449 puts. And I'll look at the SPXs once I determine the volume. Yep, September 3rd, 452s, Jim. That's what I'll be going for. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, she's great. So thank you for the comment. I appreciate that. Yep. All right, so Qs are still beasting. XLF is, hey, nice little bearishness in XLF. Let's look around here. XLE is red as well. Healthcare sector was green and then now immediately flipped red. NASDAQ is doing its thing on nice, healthy volume. Futures are bouncing back up. SPY is bouncing back up as well after a little red candle coming off the 34 3-minute chart. Things are definitely looking bullish so far. Let's look at the VIX. So VIX popped down to 1638, popped all the way back up to 1663, and then now is wicking out back down to the downside. Wiki. What's up, CJ? How you doing? That's a green candle bounce off 450.76, came back up to 451, so that's a 24-cent gain. We'll see where this green candle goes here. I've got my OM session ranges muted. Let's turn those back on. I got my pivots muted. Turn those back on. If you did notice, the pivots indicator went through an update over the weekend, or at least in the past few weeks it did. I just noticed it this weekend and put that back up here. It's got these nice bright price tags on there. I like it. XLF still falling as XLK is beast mode. It appears there's a little bit of rotation going on. Bonds are popping up. So money flowing back into the market, or let's see, out of the market now, out of the financial sector into tech. Bonds are increasing a little bit, not all that much though. We'll see where this continues to go. SPY's back up to 451.08 and 9 and still climbing. Sorry to have my options chart pulled up over there. Let me bring that back over here. All right, so the options I'm looking at here spiked at 148 down to 126, and now are hovering back to 140. What's up, Austin? How you doing? Andy, what's going on? Morning. All right, so Qs, look at that. Still straight line green on the Qs as VIX continues to reverse back down after popping back up. XLF is still falling. I'll be waiting for another green candle on the XLF. All right, there's green. All right, I'm going to go with the 45.35s on the September 3rd SPX. We posted on the watch list. SPX 45.35 calls. And let me look over for the puts. Let's do 4,500 puts. Feels like just a few days ago that I was looking at 4,500 for a stretch on the calls. All right, there's my SPX watch list posted. XLF is still falling. SPY got wicked out. Popped up to 44.51.23 and got wicked out back down to 451.10. And still climbing as XLF continues to fall. I'm kind of iffy taking calls right here with this much weakness in the financial sector. This is getting destroyed as SPY is still chopping in this range. It's what, 24 plus 31, that's 55-cent range. That's not very high. I think I'm going to play with the SPX. I do like the amount of volume I'm seeing on the X's, Lee-Rat. So I think I'm going to stick with the SPXs this morning. Just stick with the status quo. That's right, Screw, and I agree with you. See this little volatility? This green candle's getting wicked. SPX isn't on Webull. What platform should I start using instead? I would recommend E-Trade. I have always used E-Trade. I've used it since I started trading. I've never had a problem with it. The only issues I had with it was back when we had that GameStop stuff. I know I think in the summertime we had like a system-wide crash in the United States that like wiped out a lot of stuff. But other than that, man, for 10 years it's been amazing. So it's pleasant. It's cosmetically pleasing. It's easy. It's technically sound. You can get in and out of positions in 1 to 2 clicks. Yeah, so highly recommend E-Trade. So you're welcome, Lee Rat. You're welcome. I actually dug out my old mouse. I was going to send it to you, but unfortunately it was broken. So I was going to send you a wireless mouse that I had. But I remember why I stopped using it, because it was broken. Wireless mouse is a wireless mouse. That's all there is to it. You know, when I was looking to buy the setup, I found one for like $250. I was like, I'm not paying $250 for a mouse. It's like, what? It's clicks. It's clicks. What are you gonna do $250 for a mouse? It clicks. Does it click better than a $50 mouse? Hey, Wem, the broker fees keep eating up my profits. Any advice on that? Well, if you're trading more than 30 trades in a quarter with E-Trade, you can get it down to 50 cents. A lot of other brokers will negotiate with you if you do negotiate with them. But yeah, it depends. If you're trading SPY and you've got the funds to trade SPX, trade SPX. Just go with less contracts. But unfortunately, broker fees are the name of the game. So just make sure you shop around brokers to find the cheapest one out there. That's really the only thing you can do. That's why I don't track my broker's fees on my Excel sheet, because it's like there's nothing you can do about it. So it's like all I do is try to reduce them up front and then trade, because there's nothing it's the price. It's the price to play ball. Nothing you can do about it. E-Trade charges 50 cents after you do 30 trades in a quarter and 65 cents until then. What's up, Samir? How you doing? Green candle at the bottom, 450.84 after coming up to 451.30. XLF finally has a little green after a lot of bearishness. A little red on the tech sector after a lot of bullishness. Bonds, selling back off, baby. Selling back off. 224 people watching. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? We've got 10,000 followers and 200 people watching. We need to bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. All right, 450.89. Bob says E-Trade also charges 52 cents per contract for SPX index option CBOE fee. Is there a video that explains how other tickers like Qs, VIX, and XLF correlate to SPY? Not that I have. That's pretty much what I'm going to be making this week. That's going to the next video is the X sectors, and I'll kind of throw in how it all ties together. That's going to be this video this week. The next big video I'm making is going to be the Options 101 video, my take on the Options 101, what you need to know, how to get started, and that's going to be a longer video, more like an educational video. That'll probably be like a 25, 30-minute video, which is why it's taking so long. So that'll be posted there in a couple of weeks, but this one this week is going to be the XLF and how it all ties together. And I'll throw in some VIX and the Qs as well, because the Qs will tie into the XLK. Welcome to the new Patreoners. Welcome to the new YouTubes. We added a bunch this weekend. If you have any questions, throw them at me. You can DM me anytime in the Discord. The link's in the description. Shoot me a DM anytime, day or night. I'll answer to you when I get to them. You can at me anytime. We're at Options Millionaire in the Discord as well. And the Patreon room is where I usually hang out during the day, answering questions, comments, concerns. If you're not a part of the Patreon and you want to be, I highly encourage it. A lot of great resources there. That link is also in the description. You get access to me directly, and it kind of weeds out all the chatter of the general Discord, which gets more and more valuable as we grow, because now we've got 10,000 people, and we continue to grow. So as we get to 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, God willing, it's just going to get that much more cluttered. So for what it's worth, you're one of the more relaxing streamers to listen to in the morning for trading. Just want to say thanks for having an awesome stream. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. I try to bring a no BS approach to this. I don't want to be all yelling and jumping up and down and euphoric and trying to shove smoke up your butt. So that's what I try to be. I try to be me, and I try to be real, and no BS. And, some people don't like it. Some people like the sexy, euphoria trading. It's just not me. So thank you. I appreciate the comments. Do you use Kamara pivots? No, I don't. I'll try not to, Lee Rat. I'll try not to. All right, XLF. It looks like it is trying to bounce here. We have this green candle. Healthcare sector is coming back up after getting roasted. XLE's got a little bit of green. XLB. There you go. XLF, XLK coming back up. VIX is trying to climb. And SPY is still hovering 450.94. Are there any stocks that affect SPY and Qs? Yes, absolutely. The big ones are going to be the tech. We're talking, I think, 32% weighting. I think 27, 32%, if I remember. I have to check the numbers. Somewhere up there is the tech weighting of SPY. So if there's a bad day in tech, most likely you're not going to have much bullish action in the SPY. So those are the big ones. Not asking you to tell me what to do, but what would you do if you had calls from Friday expiring 9/1? I would sell, me personally. I would take these profits, because I do not expect much of a, I don't expect too crazy volatility, which you could start getting into theta decay. That's what's personally what I would do. You can always re-enter. That's my thesis. Especially if you're dealing with closed funds, you can always re-enter a position. So I would take my profits, or at least some of the profits, at least, 50% of the position, close it, 25%, whatever it is. That's just personally what I would do. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate that. Well, thanks, Thomas. Yeah, it's a good community to be a part of. I think we're starting to develop a great thing here with people wanting to learn and become educated instead of just, screaming and cheerleading and yelling and YOLO, let's go, with like 15 O's and 10 exclamation marks. It's good. We got a good thing going. I think it's a good educational resource on how to do this realistically and profitably. Nothing major, just one contract, only one round trip left. So trying to play it smart. Well, that's really up to you and your position size and how relative that is to your account. So that's up to you. XLC, that's the, if I remember right, that's the consumer staples, isn't it? No, I don't follow it too much. No, at least not this particular time. It's people ask me like what my problem with Wall Street bets is, and it's a love hate relationship with Wall Street bets. Because one, it's amazing because it brought in a whole new generation of investors and a whole new interest into this, which is an amazing thing. Like people get started young is an amazing thing. 15-year-olds, 18-year-olds. But on the other hand, when I see all the emotions in there, I'm just reminded that we're dealing with, like, sometimes I'm dealing with children and who have no business touching any kind of money over pocket change. So when I see like the behaviors I see in there, it's like it's cringeworthy when I see the cheerleading and all that stuff. So that's why I stay out of there. I stay out of there. That's why I love this community so much. We have an amazing community because it's responsible traders doing smart things, making smart decisions. What is one of the things you're waiting for before taking a call put this morning? Direction. I don't want to trade this range. This is a pretty tight range right now. We're looking at 27 plus 31. That's 57, 58 cent range. It's a pretty tight range. If we come back down to the bottom of the range, I'll consider taking a call on the right up. Just buying some weakness. But yeah, just quick scalps. Today's probably going to be a quick scalp day, 5 to 10% at best. Communication services. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't, Jim. Do you recommend turning off extended hour data for the volume averages or the nodes? No, I don't. I like to leave those in there. Yeah, it's a problem. It's like a lot of amateurs come into this professional game and they treat it like it's a arcade when they don't treat it like it is a professional game. And yeah, so if you're going to walk into an MLB stadium to try to play baseball, you can't play like Little League. You got to play like big leagues. Otherwise, you're going to get smoked. So that's awesome, Paul. I respect that for sure. I mean, in all fairness, Wall Street Bets is why this community's here because I would not have created this community. So, all right. So green candle's coming back up, 451.17. The VIX is starting to roll back over. XLF has a touch green. XLK is still hovering up top. Qs are still up there. Let's see what the bonds doing. Bonds are popping as well. NASDAQ is way green. Futures are popping way back up. And SPY is 451.21. Has almost regained pretty much all the ground it lost with these red candles. The internet and social media really show us how many truly ill people are in the world. Yeah, unfortunately, I've discovered that. Becoming this position, I've discovered that. People love to hate. I've figured that out for sure. Especially the more successful you get, the more haters you get. This is going to be my first September day trading. Any tip or tricks to September trading? Okay, well, traditionally, historically, September is a bear month. I'm not going to say it's going to be this year, but traditionally, it is. I would recommend, especially if your first September day trading, is take smaller positions. Always go small until you really figure out how this goes. Take smaller position sizes. Start focusing on returns and win rate. So even if it is a small position, try to focus on consistent 5 to 10 to 15% wins and build that win rate up. And then you could start increasing that win rate or increasing the position size a little bit. Start focusing when the right place to take puts and calls. Try doing your trade log. Make sure you're tracking every single trade in gross detail. And try to shoot for a good balance between calls and puts. 50% calls, 50% puts. Don't force it, but like at the end of the month, when you do your analysis and you see you're kind of balanced, that means you're still doing something good. That means you were able to see both sides of the coin. Do you think NFTs was a fad? Yeah, I think it is. Oh man, okay, now we got some bullish action popping right above 451.38. VIX is green, 1649. Diminishing volume, but yet still enough to be supported on this green candle. Red candle right here after we pop through the top of the range. Thanks, Dunn Legend. I appreciate that. You know, that's a big compliment, is if you can learn something here you can't learn everywhere else. One of the things that I think I offer more than other communities is the emotional side of things, the psychology. That's what separates you from 95% of other traders. If you can control your emotions and not treat this as a casino, you can be successful. Because the technical side of things, even the most advanced technical trading system you could teach to a teenager, you could teach to a 15-year-old. I'm teaching my kids how to trade. But what separates us from the professionals is the emotions, the ability to cut losses short, to let winners run, and to not involve your emotions, to buy when everyone else is selling, to sell when everyone else is buying. Well, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I'm glad you're able to combine that with supply and demand zones. Supply and demand zones are awesome as well, so good stuff. Do your kids paper trade? My older one is starting to, yeah. I do, Sean. Yep. Good stuff, Ezekiel. Yeah, one contract. Good stuff. Yeah. Keep that up. Keep that up. Ashley says, if it wasn't for one WSB, I wouldn't have enough capital to day trade responsibly. Well, it's good. Like I said, there's a lot of good positive stuff about Wall Street bets. More so prior to 2021. But there, like I said, I'm very grateful for it because it brought a lot of young new investors into it, and it did make a lot of people a lot of money with the whole GameStop stuff. Heck, if I would have been a part of Wall Street bets back in the day, I might have got in on some of that GameStop action myself. But the whole point is that you got to do that responsibly, and the sentiment that is perpetuated in Wall Street bets is not exactly healthy. The YOLOing, the cheerleading, the let's go. I hate it. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Is this your full-time job? No, it's not. In fact, I had a very eventful night. On the way to work last night to the airport to fly, my tire blew out. And I don't mean like the tire, the rubber part. I mean the wheel, the rim, completely shattered like it was glass. So I'm going to be calling the manufacturer today for a warranty replacement. Yeah, on my truck. Yeah. About a year ago, I lifted my truck and put custom rims on it. And today I hit a very small pothole. I mean, a very small pothole, and it shattered like glass. And so I had to change my tire at 12:30 in the morning on the side of the interstate. That was fun. I could quit my job, but I love what I do. It's the best job. It's the best non-entrepreneurial job in the world. So that's why I still do it. Not to mention my contractual obligation. But yeah, I love what I do. The rims, not the tire, the rim. I got the fuel rims. I'm an Air Force pilot, OSPI. Speaking of your job, do you have any plans for the channel during deployments? I do not. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Which is kind of one of the reasons why I want to build this and, bring on some trusted people potentially as we grow to like 100,000 people. You never know. Yeah, he'd be one of them. 451.43, popping to the top of the range. That red candle got bought up here. Qs are still, oh, nope, they got a little red there as well. VIX is still trading sideways. Look at XLF, a little red there. Curious to see what SPY's going to do. We're going to have yet another trend day with SPY. Let's see, trend day here, trend down here, trend up there. All right, range day was here. So we haven't had a range day since the 24th. So trend, trend, trend. Today would be the fourth trend in a row if we have another trend day. We'll see what happens with the SPY. Nice, John. Good stuff. 9.8%. So SPY is being very strong with the financial sector being very heavy. NASDAQ, it's beast mode. So this is definitely a rotation into the tech market as the futures and NASDAQ are both strong, climbing. VIX is coming back down 1645. I'll be watching for the next pivot here of 1611, lower 16s. If we go to lower 16s, I'll expect SPY well over 452. Matt said, "This is my new favorite channel. With the skyrocketing the S&P, I fortunately tied up and joined my portfolio in October puts, which seemed like a good idea at the time." Well, I get you. I catch your drift, Matt. October puts are not a bad idea. I just think you caught them just a touch too early. But thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy the channel, and hopefully you can stick around. I'm impressed with your time management. You're able to make YouTube videos, trading, spend time with your family, and have a full-time job. It's a lot. But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way for sure. I'm built for it. At what point do you usually start to cut your losses? Would you just ride out the pain until there's a correction? On a play like that, I would probably go ahead and cut, especially I think we're going to have a little more bullish this week and reevaluate. I don't know how far you're down, but I usually don't like to let losses run away from you like that, especially if you have any kind of good position size. All right, so let's look at the 5-minute chart. We bounced off the 34 on the 5-minute, which is a pretty strong indicator of a bullish day on the 5-minute chart. I haven't even touched the 8 EMA here. 451.17 would be a touch on the 8. We're currently at 451.39 after bouncing off of 450.73. Yep. Puts are a short-term game. Ever since March of 2020, puts have been a short-term game. I know September and October were a little bearish, which I think we all could see that. But for the most part, puts are a short-term game. Get in, get your profits, get out. As long as you know how to play them at the right time. All right, Dragonfly Doji at the top, that usually signifies a reverse to the downside. Let's see what happens with the price action. VIX, and once it closes that way, at least VIX is still rounding over, bouncing off the 8. Watch lower 16s. XLF is still falling as we continue to have a flush of the financial sector. Let's look at the bonds. Bonds are skyrocketing, so a huge rotation into bonds. Interesting. Look at that. Huge buy up in the bonds. That going exponential. XLF. Interesting. That changes things. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see what they're going to show us. I feel better at spotting short, something to work on. I'm a bit of a doomer. I think a lot of people are naturally doomers like that. It's especially as bullish as we've been going on 18 months now. People have been saying for 18 months that, hey, it can't continue to go higher, and just continues to go on higher. Keeps doing its thing. Here we are at 451. If you would have told me we were at 451 4 months ago, I'd say you're crazy. But here we are, 451. And yeah, you got to look at the big picture. You got to look at all the underlyings. You got to look at the bond charts, the 1 year. You got to look at the 50 MA on the 1 year. You got to look at the XLF, all the X sectors. Got to look at everything. And then of course you got to see what the words are coming out of J Powell's mouth. It's great to be optimistic. You just have to be, like we talked about this last week, as tragic optimism. You have to know when to turn that optimism off. And when the signs start showing through, and you start to see a lot of red numbers, you got to know, like, okay, it's time to stop doing it. The day will come where risk off call buying will no longer work, and you got to be careful from that. Euphoria phase, that's right. Pretty much right now, 80% of the time you can buy a call, turn your computer off, walk away, come back 24 hours later and make money. Most of the time. And that's not trading. That's just the way the market conditions are right now. Yep, pretty decent volume here. This candle sticking right here. We have this big spike. Wow, look at that. One of the bigger candles I've seen on the bonds in quite a while. Huge bullish action in the bonds, spiking to new 145. I'm going to zoom out to the 1 year here. Hold on a second. All right, so look. This was August. Let's go to the 6 months so we can zoom in a little bit here. So this was the August when we bounced. This was August 4th. We started the downturn. August 12th here is when we started. Watch here. So watch the correlation of the price. So August 16th, August 12th right here, we peaked on SPY. Look what happened with the bonds on August 12th and 16th. So 12th here is when we started bouncing on bonds, and then we came up here, and then the 16th was here, and we went a little bit higher. So inversely related with the bonds and SPY. And now we came down here, and now we're on the climb again, going back up. Look what happened. Last time we hit 150, which was on August 19th. Where did August 19th let the SPY look? We bounced off those lows. So just be careful, as if we do continue to get this climb, we've been climbing here with TLT since the 25th. If we continue to get this climb on the bonds, just be careful with the action on SPY. We could be starting to fizzle out, which does coincide with this lower volatility we've had the past 2 days. Yes, it does, Matt. Yes, it does. Matt asks, does the spike in bonds mean a possible reversal in SPY? If a continued buy up in bonds does mean a risk off position with the hedges. We continue to see a buy up in bonds, a sustained buy up in bonds. That means there's a rotation into the bonds. Risk off, people are pulling money out of the market. We could foreseeing a potential downturn, especially with this. Look at the 1 year. We just saw that here. Let's go to this 6 month. This was August 19th. This is when SPY dropped as well. And now look, we get this downturn on XLF. I do not think, see, this changes my outlook here for this. Boom. Relatively, that's a lot. How much of a buy in bonds is significant? And relatively, that's a lot. Most of the vast majority of the time, not always, obviously, nothing is absolute in this market, but a vast majority of the time, if you have a sustained buy up in bonds like that, it's a risk off position. All right, VIX is hovering 1646. XLF drop another 3861 down to 3846. And the bonds are peaked, and then a little red candle here. Qs are still very much bullish. SPY is still very much hovering at 451.52. Yeah, it's been pretty much straight up ever after this bounce. We have a lot of wicks right here, though. Wick. Let's look at the volume. Volume is decreasing, still sustained though, but decreasing. We'll see what happens here in the next few candles. Yeah, it is wicking out, but it's not even coming down to touch the ADMA. It's still hovering well above the 8. So I'm not even looking at puts right now until I see an overall market breakdown. Right now, it's all calls. Just waiting for my entry on calls. All right, so a little bit of red coming down. Sorry, I had to take a quick phone call for a second, but yeah, a little red coming back down. Not much red, but we'll be aware of that. Stand by. Yeah, the guy was returning my call about my wheels, my voicemail. So, all right, so VIX is red or is green right there. 451.46 Qs are green. XLK is still flattened out after this little pop. XLF is still falling, man. Jeez. As bonds are 149.51, a little bit red after a very strong morning for the bonds. Do you think SPY is sustainable in the long term? Absolutely, I do. All right, so it does want to hold this 8 pretty strong. It bounced just right below and popped above, and now we have this green candle of 451.53. So morning ranges are now set 451.58 to 450.73, which is just shy of $1. That's a good range to play with in the event that we do play a range, but these days we're not really playing ranges anymore, so I can't even remember the last time we've had a good range day to play of the upper and lower bounds of the ranges. It's been crazy. It's like completely disregard the lower ends of the range. Every dip gets bought up. There has to be some sort of correction coming at the point, right? If we keep at this rate, we're going to see 500 before. At this rate, we'll see 500 before the end of the month, not before the end of the year, which we probably will. It's just we've had sustained buying for 18 months now with no end in sight. It's been the biggest bull market of the history of the market. It's been crazy. I'm not even joking. Like, we very well could see 500 by the end of the month if we keep this up. So, I mean, by the end of September, not August. It's a different scenario than 2008, but it's the same stubbornness. It's the same cloak and daggers, or smoke and mirrors. So obviously the 2008 crash was fueled by the subprime loans and the housing market being propped up by junk bonds. But this is just being propped up by pumping more and more and more money, completely destroying the value of the dollar. And it's going to do this. It's going to keep on being beast mode until we all get smacked in the face. And we'll wake up one day and SPY will be down 4% pre-market, and then it'll drop 11% in a single day. And then it'll just go on a slide that we'll never be able to recover from for the next few weeks, for months. So when it finally does pop, it's not going to be something necessarily we see coming. It's just going to happen. It's going to be unforeseeable circumstances, is what they're going to call it. Do you play into September historically being flat or bearish? Historically, it is kind of flat. It is more bearish, but I'm not going to play into it until I see it. All right, so that little bit of dip, if you can call it that, immediately got bought up on the SPY. SPY Qs are still hovering up top. XLF has a little bullish coming into it there. Bonds, let's see what they're doing. Hey, big red candle on the bonds, followed by a little green here. Let's see what that happens with that. Straight line bullishness since 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on the futures. So he is seeing some private mortgages again. Interesting. I said if this keeps this up, it could hit 5. I mean, there's no reason why it couldn't. I mean, where were we a month ago? I mean, where were we? What price was it on August 1st? So what? We were 434. So we've gone up $20 just about. So maybe upper 400s, 475. I may have been a little exaggerative there with that, if that's even a word. All right, so there's Q, there's the SPY. The SPY just completely rage bounced off that 8 EMA, 451.71, just going beast mode. Good job, John. Nicely done. I don't think anyone necessarily thought we are going to hit 450, outside of the euphoria, people saying, yeah, 450, baby. I mean, it's great that we're here. It's just, who could have predicted we would be at 450, especially when we topped out at 320 last year. It's because every single dip gets bought. Every single dip gets bought. It doesn't matter. The dip could last for a few days, but every single dip gets bought. Nothing gets sold off. So that's why we're at 450. You have complete risk off buying. When the government is sitting there telling you, do not worry, we are going to pump as much of taxpayers' money into the economy as we can, why wouldn't you buy? Why wouldn't you invest? Why wouldn't you just buy as much as you can? Because it's never going to go down until that button is turned off. We all do not know when that's going to be. 451.72, beasting right up through the top of the range. On to our fourth trend day in a row, it appears. XLF is starting to climb, which is throwing that bullishness into SPY. Let's see if the financial sector, the tech sector continue. Qs are still raging. NASDAQ futures all still very much bullish. $5.35. Let's see here. So the calls I was looking at 9:40 are now 12:50. As three just green rage candles in a row, 451.84. Well, the problem, Sean, is that nothing expected happens in the market. If everything expected happens, then all retail buyers would be ahead of the game. We would be able to see stuff coming. So nothing expected happens. The reason why people use the term "quote unquote" priced in is it doesn't necessarily mean what they think it means. It means because the things that we trade around are priced in, quote unquote, because they're expected. They're what the status quo is. The market never trades off the status quo. The market, big moves are made off of unforeseen events, stuff you can't price in. So the correction that we're all hoping for or thinking about won't happen until it happens, and we won't see it coming. We'll literally wake up one day and SPY will be down 4% pre-market. Global futures will be down heavily, and the thing will roll. And that's why you're saying accounts. People who euphorically buy calls overnight will be wiped out because you won't be able to get out of your positions because the crash will happen pre-market. It won't happen during the market hours. It'll happen pre-market, and we'll be down. We'll wake up to a 50-point drop or a $30 drop in pre-market. Hopefully, you're holding puts. You can watch them anywhere. I watch futures on my E-Trade. I've got live data, so I watch futures on my E-Trade. You can also look up CNN futures. And not buying calls would have missed you out in the last 1.5. Yep, that's true. That's very much true. I wasn't saying anything about not buying calls. I've been buying calls for 18 months now. So 3 big green candles after we bounce off the 8 on the 3-minute chart, 451.97. And about to hit 452. Did we hit 452 already? Yes, we did. 452.01. The high on that candle was 452.01. Yep. Qs, straight line beasting. XLF is starting to climb, which is throwing that bullishness into SPY. Yeah, for sure, Morgan. Yeah, and I say all of this just to kind of get you thinking. I'm not a doomsday prepper. I'm not a perma bear. It still gets you thinking. It gets you thinking about the long term. Because this eventually is going to stop. This craziness is going to stop. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is just nuts. This is just nuts. This absolute unabated since March of 2020, just straight line climbing for 18 months straight. It's crazy. Because Hayden, there's too much rotation in tech. Tech was supporting this way too much. So what happened? This is considered weakness because as strong as the Qs was, SPY was kind of puttering about here. And then the second that the rotation came out of bonds back into the financials, now you see the real bullishness coming to SPY. And this was it holding on. And now it's taken off. Now we're at 452.15. I think I need to adjust my watch list now. So let's adjust my watch list. All right. 454s, and then let's go with 450s. 454s, 450s. On the SPY. Every morning I wake up looking for ultra red pre-market, but no luck yet. I'm going to keep at least one or two puts of cotton because it is happened at some point. Yep, my two best months so far of 2020 was March and July. March because it was like things made sense again. Had a lot of bearish action. I was throwing puts around left and right, and yeah, it was great times. And then July is because it was just call after call after call after call, and just made money. It was easy. Look at this. 5 just raging green candles in a row after the 8. Crazy stuff. Yep, there's no reason to hop off the bull train. There's no reason right now. Just keep on riding the bull train. With the exception of a few days a month of downturn, there's no reason to jump off the bull train. I mean, that's a different strategy, Steve. That is a strategy, but that's a different one. All right, so now we have the 4th trend day in a row on SPY. No range days are to be seen. SPY is 452.14 right now. Qs are still climbing. VIX have fallen to 1629 as we follow down to the pivot of 1611. So I was saying mid 452s, but if we got here, but if we're not even close there yet, and we're already past 452s, so look for like 453s and 4s. Any reason happening in calls today? Yeah, because I did not, I'm not playing this crap. Like I just did not expect this. A lot of weakness right there at the top, and then a lot of weakness in the bonds. The bonds were skyrocketing, and yeah, so this popped up, and I'm not going to be any FOMO trading and trade this up. So I'll get my trade in. There you go. Not having to get in a position makes it easier for wait for safer. I'm not one for euphoric, just risk off call buying. That's not my strategy. So I wait for a smart setup. And yeah, so I'm just waiting. I'll get my trade in. 452.10. Qs are still just going crazy. The chart indicated a trend day. Oh, you saw something I never did. Nothing about that chart indicated trend day to me, but 452.15. VIX, watch this thing, 1633. If this continues to fall, we'll have a lot more bullishness here in the SPY. Let's look at the volume now. So the volume is holding steady. We're starting to diminish, but this candle brought back up here. Let's watch what the volume does here. Oh yeah, the 5% correction is not going to be on the table until you have like the big picture here, and what a lot of people don't really understand. The big picture here is that this is a unprecedented market condition, unprecedented, complete risk-off call buying or risk-off investing, where the government is propping up the market with federal asset purchases. And they're not, he even came out and said they're not going to stop. They're going to do everything in their power to prop this market up. So we are unprecedented market conditions. We have unprecedented buying for 18 months straight now, just straight line up for 18 months straight. It just doesn't do that. Markets don't do that. So, like, that's what I said. If you're going to take puts, it's got to be a quick in and out. Don't hold puts for very long, because the dips only last for 2-3 days at tops at the most. And then they're immediately bought right back up. And that's not going to stop until it stops. I know it sounds simplistic, but it's not going to stop until it stops. And we won't know it stops until we wake up one morning and SPY is down 20 points pre-market. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, you're not going to get 5% corrections. You're not going to get a 200 touch, and to touch of the 200 simple moving average until all this just comes crashing down. Until then, jump on the call train, baby. That's where we end up every day. I'm just like, this can't be sustainable while I watch it just continue to rocket from sidelines. What would you be looking for today like today to start buying? I'd probably buy in a weakness. I'd buy in a weakness. I'm not gonna FOMO this up because the volume is starting to at least level off. I'll buy weakness, but yeah, if we ever get any, I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green candles in a row. So it was starting to look a little weak right here, and then it just rocketed right off of let's see, right at 10:15 Eastern. Yep, it's exactly right, Screen. It's exactly right. Yep, here we go. Another big green candle. $452.27. I want no part of this. Q's straight line rocket from 376 to 379. Nasdaq is just straight line rocketing. XLT or TLT's bonds are still starting to give back all the things they got this morning. Rotation is done. XLF is still climbing. XLK is still climbing, and VIX is still hovering 1633. All right, let's switch over to the 5-minute. This is where, I mean, it's not even close to the 8, but on days like today, the weakness is considered the 8 on the 5-minute, which would be 451.90. Yeah, so let's see if it even comes close to that. I know what Friday wasn't even coming close to that. Hey, that's a heck of a win, Lucas. 30%. Any thoughts on crypto and NFTs? I don't know all that much about either one of those. I don't talk too much about them. I did do some trading in crypto successfully. But I mean, I think crypto will have its place from what I do know about it and what I've been told. I think crypto will have its place in the economy in the future, especially I think from what I've been told on intergovernmental transactions. But NFTs, I think it's a fad. Hey, well, your luck to have seen Yosemite before my state burns up. Man, Yosemite was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Me and my wife renewed our vows at Yosemite, and we just got the pictures back, man. It just makes me want to go back so bad. Mind blowing place. Yeah, I'm definitely jealous for people who live within driving distance to that place. Is it? Is it in Yosemite? The fires? Well, that's the problem, Matt. Is that you have to look for weakness buys, and unfortunately, the weakness buys happen very quick. You have to get in and you have to get in very quickly on weakness on days like today, because yeah, that's a very common occurrence. And another big green candle. I don't think so, Lee Rat. This thing is just too strong right now. Just 452.40 and climbing. VIX is still red and falling. All the other sectors are looking bullish. TLT is still selling off. Nasdaq and the futures are just absolutely beast mode. I mean, it's not even touching the 8 EMA at this point. So just buy a call and go to the lunch, come back, collect your money. Do you always buy a put to protect the call and vice versa? No, I don't. Differentiating weakness for actual sell-off is a bit tricky for me. I mean, really, to me, the difference between those two is volume. A little bit of weakness that comes back down, just a little profit taken, is different from if you see this type of selling action in the middle of the day or in the beginning of the day. That is a reversal. It's not that big bull volume, John. I mean, it's definitely sustained, but I mean the volume is starting to diminish. So just watch that volume. Yeah, the volume is the big. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to know the difference between a weakness and a reversal, just watch the volume. SPY broke the RSI indicators. Too many green bars. Yeah, a lot of indicators aren't calculated for this kind of sustained bullishness. It's crazy. So the 1 year. Let's look at the 1 year. We had 2 days of selling, followed by 1, 2, 3 gap ups, one dip, and then here we are, just another up and then up, follow on green candle. 452.40 after coming down to 436. We're already almost $20 off of the August 19th low. Look at that. ETF chart is almost straight up and down. Crazy. Yeah, it did, Quan. Yeah, it's a good observation for sure. I didn't enter it. I didn't enter that play. That was just my watch list. Yeah, I'm not touching this. This is FOMO buying up here, so I'm not touching it. I'll buy on weakness. I'll wait for a pullback to one of the eights on the 5 minute chart, which is down here, which, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green raging candles in a row straight up. So we come back down, we'll consider weakness play. Yeah, for sure, Matt. Yeah, there's one thing I can promise to you is that I'm a very conservative player. I'm a very safe player. So I try not to FOMO. That's one thing I definitely don't like doing. I think it's definitely emotional play, and it's easy to do. You see this starting to beast mode, you miss the entry, and it's like, oh, I want to get into it. And then you buy at the top, and it reverses on you, and now you're down a position. And then you tell yourself, I could have bought a call at any time and made money, but I bought a call right there and it reversed on me. Well, that's because you FOMO'd. That's not any kind of paranormal reason other than you FOMO'd and got into that position. So it's like, I'll just wait for this thing to get some weakness. If it is this bullish, it'll continue to be bullish. I'll wait for a weakness, and then I'll buy into the weakness. Easy peasy. It's not as sexy as a lot of traders, but hey, it works. It's why my win rate is so high. That's why I've doubled my account in the past 4 months, because I play smart. I play safe. Can't even get a red candle, though. That's infuriating. No mo FOMO. That's right. Right. This is just ridiculous at this point. That little bit of red. We had a little bitty red candle. Bought up. Qs, bought up. VIX, still trading sideways at this point. Yep, you're exactly right. When it does pull back, it's gonna go flat and stay flat within a 5 cent range. You're probably exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. So Friday's pre-market analysis was spot on. Today's was completely wrong. I predicted a lower volatility range day based on what I was seeing in the pre-market and the global economy and the futures and the Nasdaq. And then we wake up and rage and do this. We blow out the top, and now we're about to hit 453 after being at 450 in pre-market. It's funny how those things work. Nice, Andy. Well done. Well done. I love it. Andy's about to close out his second profitable month since incorporating my system. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure. For I love hearing that stuff, because the fact that I figured out a long time ago this system works, and now that I can see it works for everybody else, and it's awesome stuff. So awesome stuff. Well done. You may have learned a little something in here, but you had to execute. So uh, congratulate yourself. That's awesome stuff. So the volume was increasing. Let's see what happens with the next few candles, as we are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on our 8th green candle in a row after coming down to touch the 8 EMA. Howard said he's going to add the 2 EMA and buy calls when it touches it. I mean, he's probably right. Hey, what's up, Lil B? Thanks for joining the Patreon account. Well done, well done. Dig in, ask questions, man. Learn as much as you can, or a woman, either one. Well, thank you for joining the community, Sean. I appreciate that. There's 3 different tiers, Steve. 3 different tiers. There's a link right there. If that's not right. There's a $10 tier, a $20 tier, and a third tier, $100 tier. $100 obviously gets you a lot of perks, including some one-on-one analysis of everything you're doing in your system to figure out, basically narrow down what your thinking is and what your strategy is going forward. There's a link if you do want to click on it to see what you got. Thanks, Steven. Appreciate that. Thanks, Steve. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Yeah, for sure. You could always reach out with any kind of with DMs with any questions, and of course, anytime in the Discord as well. Another big green candle, increasing buying volume. 452.74. This is fun to watch. So the Qs appear to have stalled up here at 379. XLF is still climbing. The bonds are trading flat. The VIX is increasing. SPY continues to beast. Another big green candle. T-shirt. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Hey, it's all right. There's always going to be a setup. Just remember that. That's what I always told myself when I felt like FOMOing. There will always be a day with setup. Always. You may have to wait 2 or 3 days, but there will always be a trend day. So down or up, there will always be major sell-offs. There will always be major buy-ups. Always be a play. FOMOing will always, well, most of the time, FOMOing will get you into trouble. So just, don't worry about it. So, whenever I see action like this, I just know there'll be a play. I'll look for the play. I'll look for the smart play. Yeah, read some loss porn. That'll cure your FOMO for sure. I protect my profits with with absolute relentless aggression. I protect my profits. You already updated the watch list. Like I pile all my profits in a pile, and I build a castle around it. I dig a moat around the castle, drawbridges, alligators, trebuchets, all that stuff. Like I protect my profits. And sometimes it's not sexy, but I've worked very hard to build my profits over the past 10 years and over the past 4 months in particularly, and I don't want to give those back. So I don't mind missing a few plays that don't necessarily fit my trading style, my eye. So, and we'll all learn something. Ah, yes, the trebuchet candle. That's right. Throw a pet dragon in there too. Oh, thanks, Magus. Appreciate that. It is protein 30, so I will be back here in about 3 minutes after I make my protein shake. So stand by. If you hear some silence, that's why. And we're back. Congrats on the 10K subs. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a big thing. You know, I woke up this morning to 10K, so it was good stuff to see. Having a long-term portfolio helps reduce FOMO on green days too. I don't make a play today, but yeah, RA is killing it. I mean, I looked. I've been monitoring recently my returns on my TSP. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. They look like day trading returns on my TSP. It's crazy. OM needs to open a protein shake store, man. Yeah, I've got my prep room, and I know my recipe, like what I do. So it's like about 3/4 cup coffee, about half a cup of milk, of whole milk, and then a scoop of protein and a scoop of creatine, and I threw that in there. So yeah, my TSP, which is it's the military version or federal employee version of a 401k. Same thing. They just call it TSP. Do I gym? Yes, I do. How many years have been in the Air Force? Over 10 years. Matt says, I've been doing really well before I tried to start maneuvering these puts about a month or two ago. Now my portfolio is down over 50%, which is why I'm trying to drastically change my strategy. Well, the good thing is that you've came in the right place. You come to the right place. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with puts. It's just you have to, especially in this euphoric bull market where it's just nonstop dip buys, that you have to be very strategic when you play puts. Puts can pay off very big. just to the nature of the puts, but you have to be very strategic. And there's the first red candle since 10:10 Eastern time, which is almost an hour ago. 10:10-2:20. You remember those 10:10-2:20 commercials? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green candles in a row. All on sustained volume. Like the volume never even really dipped. It just bleep, it actually increased. So definitely some crazy bullishness for sure. Love the questions today. Good stuff. I don't want to talk about, Jason, which aircraft I fly, just because of the nature of it. And, I know we have a global community here. Don't want to stir up feathers. That's funny. I fly a crop duster. I would actually love to fly a crop duster. I don't, but I would love to fly one. One of my goals is to build a Kit Fox plane. If y'all anybody involved in flying at all, you know what a Kit Fox is. I want to build my own Kit Fox. You sound like you fly heavies, just saying. I could. Cutting or bulking. A little bit of both. This is the strongest I've been in quite a while. Ever since before I started getting a lot of back injuries, so I'm very happy with my strength. And since then I'm about 220 pounds now, so I've put on a little weight. Now I just kind of want to take it off and still maintain that strength. So a little bit of both. I'm not looking to get shredded, but just trim up a little bit. I've got a Super Cub. Always wanted to build GP4. Nice, yeah, me too. That'd be awesome. When you're buying calls, what is the expiration you prefer? I usually go for 2 to 3 or 4 to 5 day DTEs. Since you're protective of your profits, I believe you mentioned you hold PLTR. What are you willing to talk about wheel? I don't do the wheel, so. Do you do individual stocks as well, such as Tesla? I do individual stocks in my long-term trading account, which is just a buy and hold, dollar cost averaging type scenario. Nothing crazy. I've since liquidated all my Tesla positions, though. I'll tell you that. Indicators for market direction, EMAs. EMAs and volume. That's what you need. I can't wait to set up a squat rack in my home. I've been waiting to hit 5x5 hard, but can't go to gyms in my state. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, I have a home gym, so I could not wait for. Luckily, I set it up before Corona hit, so I had my own gym before. So, thoughts on RSI Indicator? I think it's fantastic for longer term trades in terms like weeks, months, but I don't like it for day trading. I think it's kind of like hit or miss, 50-50 on entries and exits. I sold 50% of my Tesla to quit my job and day trade. Nice. Well done. Yeah, Tesla and Amazon were my two big babies of 2020. I got in the lower hundreds in Tesla and I rode it all the way up to the 600s. So I did very well with it. And I became bearish in December of 2020. Not for very long. Not for very long. Because we all know in December it went from the lower 600s to the 900s. So I was not bearish for long. But Amazon, thanks to Amazon, I had my biggest single day win in a single day. 154 grand I made in one day, thanks to Amazon. And that's what put me over the, the career goal that I've always been shooting for, which you could probably all assume what that is. So that was a great day. That was November of 2020. So I haven't been able to beat my single day record yet, but I'm trying to. I had a career month though. July of 2021 was a career month for me. It was the highest grossing month I've ever had, not counting the big stuff I had not counting 2020. Was that 154,000 on options? Yes, it was. It was on. I had 4 different expirations on Amazon. They're all Amazon. Different strategy, of course. So I had 6-month DTEs, 3-month DTEs, 3-week DTEs, and 4-day DTEs on Amazon. It was 4 different DTEs, 4 different contracts in one. and they all like I bought them all at the very bottom before Amazon started rocketing, and they went on this like 3 or 4 day rage where it just raged in November 2020, and I just happened to catch it at the right time. And one day, I caught 154 in one day. That was a great day. Oh yeah, it was. It was. I've got a picture of it. I'll get the picture of it. It was awesome stuff. It was a good day. Hope I took my wife and kids to dinner. Yeah, I actually took them to Vail. That was November of 2020. November 2020. All right, another big green candle after a little bitty dip. Not much of a dip there. Say that again. I missed that. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad to help. Yeah, let me know if you got any more questions while we're still waiting for a position here. I don't mind. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I just posted it in the Patreon room. That was my biggest single day gain. Obviously, I didn't do too good on Boeing that day, but I did pretty well on Amazon. That was after. No, no, this was November 2020. This was 10 years after I blew up my account. Yeah, I blew up my account back in when I was 25. That was a fantastic. I was in the middle when it crossed that mark. When I crossed the big mark, I was in the middle of a workout and I had to stop my workout because I got the notification that Amazon hit a certain price and I went to check my phone and I saw that. I was like, holy smokes! How much did you pay for the Amazon calls to profit on 150K? It was a lot. It was a lot. I went very heavy. I was extremely bullish on Amazon. Oh, extremely bullish. I did. I did. What's the most risky play I've made recently? I can't really say. I don't really do a lot of risky plays anymore. I don't know. Part of my that was about a 33% return. I was up about 30% on that play. And you have to realize like that was a combination of a long-term and short-term play. I had four different strikes, four different DTEs on that play. It was an April it was like an April strike, a February strike, a January strike, and a December strike. They were all like big time. So yeah, I remember that. I did make a play like 4 minutes before the market closed. So that was a pretty risky play, and I made like 8% on or 6% on, something like that. Is there any every days where you just say I'm not trading that? Yeah. I mean, if y'all, I mean, I've only made like four plays in 2 weeks. So yeah, the past 2 weeks have been a very, very light trading conditions for me. I just don't trade. If it doesn't suit my eye, I don't care how bullish it looks or bearish it looks. If it don't suit my eye, I don't trade it. If it goes against what I'm looking at, I don't trade it. What's an indication to a rising stock that we shouldn't enter a trade even though it really looks bullish? If it's not yet crossed up over the 50, if for some reason it's a stock that's been beat down, if it hasn't crossed up over the 50 yet, don't buy it. If it's under the 50, don't buy it on the 1 year chart. Earlier said puts are highly profitable by nature. What do you mean by that? Because usually puts are priced lower, or they're more expensive. But usually, when you're starting to look at a put, they're usually pretty cheap because of the nature. Usually, you're looking at them when stocks are up, and then when you get that downward move, you get a quick increase. Plus, you get the increase in implied volatility as well. You get an increase in implied volatility, you get an increase in stock price. Usually, those things tie together, and you get a big increase in put. So, and usually, especially in SPY, those downward movements happen pretty quick. So you get a very large increase in premium very quickly just because of the premium increase and because of implied volatility. Double hit. I didn't YOLO my account, Hayden, but it was a very large position size. It was a different strategy of what I'm playing today. So what's funny about that is that Apple call as well. I had just entered that Apple call on that screen. I ended up making 300% on that Apple call, which wasn't much. That was a small position size, but I remember that play. All right, so another green candle, double green candles here, 452.93. It is harder. It's harder to time puts because you have to be very diligent. It's because usually the reason why puts are usually more like they're riskier is because normally people treat them as an emotional play. It can't possibly go higher. I'm going to play puts. Oh, it's definitely a trend day for sure, without a doubt. It very well could break 4. Yeah, I mean it's about to break 453 now. Thoughts on the current state of Apple? I still own Apple. I still think there's a lot of growth in Apple ahead. So, I mean, there you go. Apple's treated me very, very well. How about 500 by the end of August? I would say, I mean, 470. If this keeps doing what it's doing, 470 is a high probability. 500 would be beast mode. 500 by the end of October, if this keeps going, absolutely. Which is insane to think about. I mean, it's an ETF, but if we keep doing this, yeah, there's no reason why we can't. We live in a day and age where you can start looking at ETFs growing $30 a month, which isn't absolutely insane. Yeah, back in the fall, I wasn't day trading. I was purely a swing trader, 100%. I didn't do any day trades. So I mean, I had different positions, different strategies, stuff like that. So it just requires a lot more analysis, a lot more strategy, and I was tired of doing it. Is selling puts on SPY on a regular basis similar or different from owning the stock? I mean, yeah. I mean, stock ownership and options ownership are definitely different. How much percentage of your buying power do you use per trade? If you have $10,000 account, how much are you using per trade? I trade, I mean, uh, that video I posted, 3 weeks ago, and I've made 124%, I think I remember, 124% gains in the past 4 months, and I've averaged 8.7% position sizes. So I average 8.4%. Now, there were some bigger position sizes, like a third. I think I had one 34% position size. Sometimes they're 0.04 position size. Sometimes they're very small, but I average 8.7%. So, is there any recommended reading material for swing trading that you recommend? The volume profile analysis still very, very much applies to the swing trader. even more so. How do you set stops? 15%. I set OCOs, which is one cancels the other. So if I were to walk away, when I'm watching the market, when I'm monitoring like this, I don't set stops. But if I were to walk away like I did last week or 2 weeks ago, I set an OCO. I set it at my desired loss or profit, and I set the loss at my desired loss. Hey, Lee, right, you have to make sure you have to remove the drain pump mounting screws. And then you have to make sure you pull the drain pump out of the pump. And then make sure the body insert is on the new drain. So just be careful with that drain pump. The drain pump mounting screws. DIY dad lessons from That's funny. Would you consider puts on a day like this? Absolutely not. Unless I see an overall market breakdown that's going to indicate puts, I would not take puts here. Hey, biggest red candle we've had since 9:40 Eastern. Is there news? Is there news? He says sarcastically. Did you say 4 positions? Like, yeah, I've only traded like 4 or 5 times in the past 2 weeks, if that. Like, it's been a very slow 2 weeks, and I went from making like 6 trades a day to this past 2 weeks. I've been kind of sitting on the sidelines just watching. Is it finally done running? Probably not. All right, here we go. Let's watch this. This could potentially be a position entry. Let me bring up my account. If I'm going to be doing any buying, it's going to be on weakness. So we'll see. Can you comment on the volume of this candle? It's substantial. So it is supported. It is a supported selling volume, which makes me, which is good. It's healthy. Healthy. That's what we want to see, is action like this. There we go. September 3rd. SPXs. I'm going to go with the 4550s. There you go. Let me come back in here. I'm going to update that 4550s. Yep, I am Lee Rat SPXs. Oh, thanks, Yes Geometry. Appreciate that. Yeah, welcome. Oh, welcome to the Patreon community as well. So we're about to start rolling out the next series of podcasts. We rolled out, I think, 9 episodes. And then we're about to start rolling out the next season, so be on the lookout for that. I just put out the personal budgeting tool, which took me 10 years to develop my own personal finances, and that is it's going to start rolling out more and more features as I continue to automate more and more things. So if you are a Patreon subscriber, be on the lookout for the personal budgeting tool. Let me know if you get anything about that, if you get any feedback about that. So on the 5-minute, we come down to the 8 EMA, and now we have some green candle, buying it up. XLK has got a green. XLF still on the increase. The bonds are increasing again. Interesting bond action. NASDAQ green, futures green. All right, so we did touch the 8. And it happened very quick. Ryan is up 4% on the dip. Nicely done, Ryan. I was thinking about bumping my gums. I got to be careful that I don't miss plays. What do you think of the current MACD? I don't like it. It's too laggy. It's the MACD is one of those things. If you, in hindsight, if you look at the MACD, you think, man, that thing's perfect. Every time it crosses over, I need to buy it, but it's laggy. In real time action, it lags too much and it gives you false entries. So I don't like the MACD. For long term stuff, it's great. If I want to use it for long term trading, cool. But for day trading, it lags. All right, so we got this red candle. Now we're back on the 8 EMA. Double red candles. That thing was sold off. VIX is 1628 low. It bounced off now at 1630. XLK. Looking around the markets here, XLF is still on the climb. That looks good. Bonds still climbing. Okay. SPY is on the 8 EMA right meow. 452.66. This is a day where I don't take puts because it looks too strong, but I don't take calls because it could be enormous. Yeah. I love you, fam, but you are going to get wrecked on puts just by calls. I haven't bought puts today. I agree with you. Yeah. Do you use different time frames for charts? Yep. So I use 3 and the 5 minute to time my trades and the 15 minute to really verify. So like if you watch that go over to the 15 minute, which is going to be obviously bullish. I mean, look at that. So there's a 3 minute chart. So red candles pop through the 8s. The 34, I'll go strong into calls if we ever come down that far. 21, I'll be looking for an entry here if we do get there. Bonds are starting to increase back up. XLF on the increase. Qs, little sell off here. All this is little profit taking. Look at the volume, nothing crazy here. I don't see anything egregious. Would you ever teach a different strategy for people with much tighter risk tolerance? Man, I don't know how you can have much tighter risk tolerance than I have. I'm pretty conservative. But yeah, I mean, longer DTEs. So just really take risk off the table, man. Yeah, longer DTEs. In the money plays, stuff like that. All right, so financial sector still climbing up. So is bonds, though. Be aware of that. VIX is starting to bounce off this lower mid to low 16 range, climbing back up. Little itty bitty green candle right there. 452.67. If you have a tighter risk tolerance than me, then you probably need to just invest long-term plays. That's pretty much it. I mean, I have a very conservative approach for day trading. Sometimes I'll turn the risk on, sometimes I'll turn it off, but for the most part, I'm a pretty conservative player. Slow and steady wins the race. Tortoise in the hare. Tortoise wins every time. Oh, sorry, you mean a higher risk taking person? Yeah. If you are doing higher risk than I, then just shorten the DTEs. You know, if you want to do a 1 to 2 day DTE, I did 3 or 4 trades back in July where I did 1 day DTE, or 1 DTE. It was too much for me. Too many fluctuations. I was going from like plus 12, minus 3, plus 20, minus 4, minus 10, plus 15. I was like, it was too much. I had to like drink a White Claw after that, and I don't even drink. And my nerves were shot. I needed a White Claw. 452.69. We are below the 8 EMA. This candle is closed. That previous candle completely closed below it. And we're coming down to 21. Cody caught that. Isn't it though? 21% year to date. It's crazy. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. I mean, it's 100%. 100% since March. 100% gain. I was buying 1 day expirations. I mean, yeah, back to July, yeah. All right, here we go. So we're sandwiched between the 8 and 21, not quite coming down to the 21. Qs are flattened out. VIX is still on the 21 now, 1638. Bonds are still climbing pretty hard. These shoes up here, bonds 148.48. Do you still swing trade, and are you primarily SPX and this? I still plan on swing trading. What I'm going to be doing is taking the 3-week to 4-week plays when it does become appropriate. But for the most part, I am still day trading only SPY and X, and then rarely I'll throw in a Q trade. Rarely. And there's a big green candle. I turn my head away from 1 second, and I get a big greenie. How do you decide you're waiting between trading and long-term account holds 50-50? Yeah, good question, Mr. Bagoo. So what I will do is flip back to the 3-minute chart and look at SPY. I've got a certain dollar amount. So at the end of every quarter, I'll skim off whatever the profits are above that certain dollar amount, and I'll throw those into whatever investment vehicles I look at. If I'm ready to purchase a rental property, I'll do that. If I want to put it in my long-term trading account, I'll do that. So whatever investment vehicle I want to do, I skim those out of my day trading. The whole sole purpose of my trading account is to fund investments. It's not for me to go play with. It's not for me to go live a lavish lifestyle. It's for me to put in other investment vehicles. So when I am 50, I can live like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, minus the whole, technology thing. That's my goal. Good question. To confirm, 3-minute and 5-minute entry on, 15-minute all daily charge, no holds over the night, 4 to 5 day TE. Do you ever use 2 or 1 week and 30 days to look back? When I'm doing my analysis, I use all time frames. In terms of pre-market, when I'm looking back, when I do my historicals, because you have to do historical chart analysis, I go back from the 1 year, 6 month, 3 month, all that stuff. When I'm actually doing my trades live during the day, 3 and 5 minute. Would you agree that the best to use different strategies for different market conditions, or use options strategy, for example, or just buy and sell options? I mean, you need to have different strategies. The optimum, the optimum player would want to be well versed on theta plays, selling, as well as long calls, long puts. So short options are a strategy, long options are a strategy. Playing them both when appropriate, you're just going to maximize your money. Back in June, very much a theta month. If you were well versed in short options, theta is your play. June was your play. July, long calls, long puts work beautifully. So would you agree that's best to use? Sorry to answer that question. My bad. All right, so we have a bounce up to 21 there. We have a big green candle, and then this little bitty green candle follow along. Qs are rounding up. XLF is starting to climb still. So with the bonds, though. VIX is green candles, middle of the range, 1637. Man, it's crazy because on a 3-minute chart, like the EMAs haven't even touched all day. They haven't even touched since pre-market on Friday. Post-market on Friday is on the 3-minute chart. Just complete, absolute rage fest. The 5-minute, we've got dark green crosses, squeeze Momo. EMAs are obviously definitely bullish. Red candles here on the 8. We're kind of sticking around the 8 right here. So it appears to be, apparently we're going to have at least some kind of short-term consolidation phase. We'll see how long that lasts. How do you decide if you should sell puts or buy calls? Is based on IV or other factors. Optimally, you want to sell in high IV scenarios and obviously in chop scenarios. The best time to do it would be right after a big move when IV is still a little high, and then right before you enter a consolidation phase. So you could sell those plays, particularly a strangle, and take advantage. What's your thought process behind identifying a good trade? I like to watch my indicators. So, like in this particular instance, if I'm watching this chart here, I want to watch levels, pivots, levels, what have you. So I've got my pivot 453 here, which is way down below. Then I want to look at volume profile, which is a very important indicator for me, and then the actual volume candles. I want to see how the volume is acting, how the different support and resistance levels are acting. Is one actually respecting the resistance, the rejection, the pivots, and figure out what's going to go from there. If I continue to see this thing bouncing off the 8 on a continued support, I know eventually this thing's going to rocket up, and I'm going to watch the sectors to make sure that the price action is correlating. There's actually there's money moving into the SPY, or the correlating sectors that's going to boost this thing up. But it's all in the volume. It all boils down to volume. TLT and VIX for the last question there. I'm just going to wait for this consolidation to play out. LF. What is the 8? I keep hearing that, but not sure what it refers to. The 8 refers to the 8 EMA. So I've got 3 EMAs. The 8, which is blue, the 21, which is yellow, the 34, which is purple. I also trade off the 50 simple moving average, which is red, but I use that usually for longer term stuff. I find the 8 is a popular indicator. The 8 for me has always been the people that I learned from use the 8. And now there's very, very little difference between the two. If you were to plot the 8 and the 9, there's like hardly any noticeable difference between the two. They're almost identical. So I wouldn't get too wrapped around the weeds between either one of them, but I use the 8. Uh-oh. Is it time to start shorting Norwegian again? Man, I made a lot of money shorting Norwegian cruise lines. Love it. Use the 8.5. Love it. All right, so 452.69, we're currently consolidating up here. Yes, I did. I said the 8 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 34 EMA. How do you mitigate the risk of selling the calls? You have to learn how to roll. In order to mitigate the risk, you have to know how to. Well, there's a couple different ways. Like if you were going to sell, you could buy the underlying stock. So if you are selling a call, let's say you're a hedge fund. Let's say Grandma X dies and leaves you $150 billion, and you start your own hedge fund, and you start doing short calls, short puts, start selling short plays, and you short a bunch of calls. So when you short those calls, John on the other side is buying calls. So you're shorting the calls. Let's say you short those calls, the market continues to climb. Well, in order to hedge against that position, you have to buy the stock. So you short the options, you short the calls, the price continues to go up, which means you're beginning to lose money. So you have to buy the stock to hedge against that position. That way you're making your returns as the stock continues to increase, but you're losing money in the options. So there's a bunch of different ways to hedge, but that is just one of them. But that also causes a gamma squeeze, by the way. Which SMA are you guys using on TradingView? I seem to be getting funky ones. It's just moving average. Just look up moving average. The simple is implied. You don't actually say simple. The squeeze moment was solid green for the first hour. Why didn't you buy? FOMO. I don't FOMO. In hindsight, it's 2020. You usually buy an outside the money call to maximize risk. YouTube's your best friend there, Lee Rat. I've had to fix a few washing machines before. So 452.74. We're now into a consolidation period. Qs are still doing the same. Let's see. XLF is still trending up. XLY is up. XLB is still slightly trending up. XLE, same thing. A lot of the sectors are pretty much corresponding. Healthcare sector is beast mode. And then the TLT is starting to go exponential here. So careful with that. Hey, OM, can you explain your utilization and reasoning for the 50 and 200 MAs? Yes, I can. So the 200 MAs I only use for correction territory. I use it for the 15% calculation. So if you go out to the 1 year chart and plot the 200 simple moving average, when you start to become 15% extended over the 200, you're in extension. You're in extended territory, which unfortunately doesn't really mean much in 2020 and 2021. But usually, historically, when you are more than 15% extended over the 200 simple moving average, it's time to play puts. But you got to be very careful doing that this year because you can get smoked, as we all know, because we pretty much maintain 15% extended year round. The 50 I use for shorter cyclicals. The more observations you have, and what I mean by observation is the 200 MA is 200 observations, 50 MA is 50 observations. The more observations you have, the longer time frame you build in. The shorter observations you have, the shorter time frames you have. So the 50 MA I'm using for the 1 month cyclicals, 30-day cyclicals, which you all know that I play the 30 days. And that's why the 824 and 31, the 821 and 34 I play on the daily charts. Absolutely R2. Yeah, I learned a lot of my good acoustic guitar stuff on YouTube as well. The first house I ever flipped was completely, literally teaching myself how to do it all on YouTube. Literally. All the stuff I didn't already know how to do, that is. We're in a consolidation phase now, Roland, so I guess you consider that. That's why I don't understand this generation. Like, especially me raising kids, I'm very attuned to what they're using for, especially now me being, this OM character. So we have a world of resources at your fingertips. You can learn anything you want using YouTube and a few good books. You can learn anything you want, anything. And, people choose to play video games and watch TikTok all day when you've got literally global information at your fingertips. You can learn how to make money. You can learn how to trade. You can learn how to invest in real estate. You can learn how to start a business. You can learn how to build a home. You can learn how to do anything you want. And yet people watch women shake their booties on TikTok all day or play Fortnite. But that's a conversation for another channel. That's right. That's right. I listen to podcasts while playing video games. This is my video game. There you go. There you go. There's not. Don't get me wrong. I'll throw in a few games of good Fortnite with my kids, but when you are doing entertainment has its place. I'm not one of those people who's like, no fun, no fun. Entertainment has its place because it's part of emotional health. Emotional health is very important. The problem is when you start interjecting entertainment into your life to such a point where it's sacrificing growth and personal development, then entertainment is no longer a good thing. It becomes an obstacle. It becomes a point in your life. It becomes destructive. There's too many resources at your fingertips to become profitable in this life, and I'm not even talking about financially. I'm talking about living a fulfilling life of having a task, having a process, having something you can do with your hands and your mind. There's too many resources out there for you not to do it. And I came from nothing. I was dirt poor. I was independent since I was 14. I was dirt poor, and I taught myself everything I know. My dad didn't know anything. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. 452.84. We're still consolidating. Not much going on at the moment. Brandon says, hey, I'm new to your channel. Just joined Discord. Do you have a set playlist that I go learn your system or recommend to learn how to? Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. If you go into my YouTube account, if there's links are in the description as well, check out the educational playlist. It has all the videos about everything I've been doing so far that I've released. I think there's 8 or 9 videos so far. So, consume those. And then, of course, any questions you've got, please DM me in the Discord. It goes down to the DMs. So DM me anytime, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you got for me. Then, of course, you can at me anytime in the rooms at Options Millionaire. My thought process is this: if it's going to make money, I'll do it. If it's going to help me when I'm going to make money, I'll do it. There you go. There's nothing wrong with playing some games. There's nothing wrong. What's your cell phone number? 615-867-5309. I just made those up. So, Tommy Two-Tone. That was quite inspirational. I find myself lost quite a bit. Need to get motivation going. Everything is at our fingertips. And that's the thing, man. That's a funny word. Motivation is a fleeting word. So I don't like to throw motivation in people's face because motivation is fleeting. It's not like Navy SEALs or Olympic gold medalists or professional athletes wake up every single day motivated. They're human too. But what they have that other people do not have is discipline. Motivation is fleeting. Motivation is BS. What separates the winners from the losers, the successful from the unsuccessful, the rich from the poor, is when you wake up and you do not want to do it, you still do it anyway. Discipline. Motivation fades, discipline builds. That's right. My father got me into trading because he started hating his job and looked into trading and asked me to learn with him. Wish he started hating his job 10 years ago. This has changed my life. There you go, Sean. I love it. That's a great thing to have, man. It's a great thing. Nobody is more motivated than when you have a relentlessly discouraging career breathing down your neck. Thoughts on trading with margin? Never do it. I think everyone knows my story of trading on margin. So I would never, ever, 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 ever touch margin. I try not to get on my soapbox too much with y'all, but it's my passion. It's my passion. I love life, man. It's an amazing thing. Yep, no margin like no credit card debt. No credit card debt. I do have a credit card, full disclosure, but I zero it out every single month. I'm very, very stringent on my purchases, and I zero it out every month. I do it just for the 2 reasons: fraud protection, and my wife likes to go on vacation, so travel points. Although it doesn't obviously, pay off that much, but it helps. It's fun. That's the one way I differ from Dave. I love Dave Ramsey's principles. Love him, love him, love him. But I disagree with his usage of liabilities. There are 2 different ways to use liabilities. You can use them for fun assets, depreciating assets, which is what most people do, and that's why they remain poor. Or you can use liabilities for income generation. If you can take out a loan from the bank, you use other people's money to buy a income producing asset, an appreciating income producing asset. That is one. That is a very good thing to use. Use other people's money, as long as you don't overextend yourself. The problem is most people can't do that. They $30,000 a year salary, they go and they buy a $60,000 vehicle, which depreciates the second you drive it off the lot. Instead of buying a $2,000 junker car and building up a down payment, taking out a $250,000 mortgage to go buy a rental property. It's different. Cash back, baby. That's right. All right, so 452.88. Just give a little roundup here on the market while we're bumping our gums. VIX is still down 1638. NASDAQ and the futures are still hovering out. We got a little consolidation phase. Nothing wrong here. So bonds bump back up to 146.62, and they're falling. XLF is got this green candle. Thanks, Megas. Appreciate that. I'm glad you're here. Are you a gold or platinum guy? What do you mean? If you're talking about jewelry, I mean, I don't have any jewelry, but if I were, it would be platinum. I don't do gold. I don't like gold. It's like very 80s-ish for me. Can you spot the difference between squeeze and consolidation? Yeah, it's about volume. Oh, I don't invest in either. I bought a house at 24, but now my ex has it. Oh man. Yep. Do it, Lee Rat. Buy it before you're 30, baby. That's funny. Found a picture of options millionaire wheel blowout. Now I get Ramsey's just trust me, I love everything he says. And I get what he says because the vast majority of people truly, it baffles me because when you listen to his show, there are a lot of financially uneducated people out there. And it's unfortunate because financial education to me is the most important non-spiritual education. It's the most non-spiritual education. Financial education is so important. And there's so many people out there that are just not educated enough to make sound financial decisions. Hey, Andrew, where I live, most young people are making $20 to $30 an hour if they're doing well. Houses are moving to the 400s on average. What advice do you have for teenagers afraid they will never be able to buy property? That's a tough situation. It's a tough situation because housing prices are astronomically high. All I would really say is pack away as much money as you can, so when the prices do come back down, you can grab up some properties, either through foreclosures or learn how to do some renovations and buy the crappiest house you can find in the best neighborhood and flip it and then rent it out, or buy it, or just live it, flip it out and live in it. Wait for prices to oscillate. Unfortunately, that's really about it. There's not really much else you can do with that. Prices right now are so incredibly high. It's ridiculous. I'm about to buy the first property I've bought in 2 years, and that's because it's an opportunity I just can't pass up. Otherwise, I would never touch a property right now until prices came back down. Do you do the construction yourself? I'm getting more and more impressed. I don't. I don't flip houses anymore. I used to. It was just too much work. It was way too much work. I didn't have time to do it, especially with raising a family and my job. And now this, of course, I just don't have time to flip. So I'll still do all their small repairs myself because I know how to do all that stuff. The one thing I'll never ever do is drywall. Super, super big respect for people who do drywall. I can't stand it, loathe it. And HVAC work. But I can do all the electrical. I can do plumbing. I can do all the framework, all that stuff. Trim work. How much is your neighbor's house? Egregiously high. Way, way more than what we paid for it 5 years ago. Way, way, way much more. All right, so 452.96 currently curling up there. Watch the bonds. It could push it higher if the bonds fall again and the X to the left continues to climb. we have a big green candle here on SPY or on the XLF, it could push SPY to higher again. My whole family does sheetrock. Respect. Yeah, if you were a good sheetrocker, man, and a good finisher. Do you still residential rental property is a good investment, even with the eviction moratorium you've seen over the past 6 months? Yes, I have, especially with the Supreme Court throwing that crap out of the window. I think the eviction moratoriums were an absolute catastrophe against liberty, but that's just another conversation. It's one of those things where on paper it looks nice and happy and kumbaya, but it was terrible. It's kind of like they say, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah, that's one of those things. Hung drywall for a while, but can't do electric. Yep, I can do electric. My father-in-law owns his own electric company, so I did a lot with him, which I enjoy. Like if I wasn't into investing, and I was to open a business, that's probably what it would be, is doing electric work. I love it. It's kind of like you have a puzzle to figure out, and you have to do it. You have to figure it out. Let's do it, Lee Rat. I'm a contractor for the AF overseas. What's your thoughts on getting a house near the base, even though it's inflated due to the economy we provide in the area? It's a great thought. I've thought about that. There's a lot of good real estate around the area, and I've thought about doing that stuff. Especially you can like rent it out to, you can rent it out to military members, and you could charge like the daily BAH rate, their per diem rate, stuff like that. My next thing I want to get into though is Airbnbs. I haven't done an Airbnb yet. That's my next venture. All right, bonds are starting to fall. We could drive SPY higher. Can a 1 hour trade be considered a scalp? It depends. I mean, if it's like, you're splitting hairs at that point. Travel nurse renting. There you go. Yeah. You could do commercial housing, like if you rent out to companies and stuff. I guess corporate housing, I guess would be a better word for it. Who wants to see my bathroom model I did? Here, let me see it. Throw in the Patreon general chat room. Love to see it. Yeah, I'll if y'all are interested, I could post the before and after pitch on the last house I flipped. It was a 1972 house, and I completely gutted everything. The entire house, every single room, I gutted down to the studs, ceiling and everything, and I redid the entire house. So yeah, I could show that. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see your flips. Let's see it. Would you do an Airbnb in your military base? Would I do an Airbnb? No. What I would probably do is do my own thing where I would set up a rental where I would do the daily per diem rate, a contractual where it could be the daily per diem for TDYs. There you go. That's right, Josh. Yeah. Did my first scalp today on on a woman's intuition. Bought 5 and sold at 88. Nicely done. Well done. Just don't ever rent to a private. There you go. Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Yeah, well done. That's good. That's good work. Redid the floor, redid the vanities, put in the vent fan, lights. I like it. Well done. Yeah, learning tasks like that, man. Learning skills like that, invaluable. Invaluable. Single family and multifamily. The Mrs. and I are currently housing in Houston for a multi-investment family investment, struggling to find good quality. I would start out with single family and go up from there because there is a learning curve. You have to learn how to deal with communication with tenants, especially if you get one that's a little rough around the edges or one that doesn't, kind of abrasive. You need to learn how to do that. Uh, you need to learn how to deal with stuff like, hey, if they call you in the middle of the night because a drain popped or a water line busted, or the washing machine goes out on a Sunday afternoon and you're sitting home with your family and you don't want to leave, stuff like that. You need to learn how to do that. Then I would venture into multifamily. But the big thing I would recommend for anybody that's looking to get into rental properties is find you a good property management company and have at least bare minimum have them do with a placement. Find you a property and find you a property management company that will, you pay them a fee and they will do all the placement. They'll do the background checks. They'll find the tenants, the credit reports, all that stuff. They'll do the tenant. They'll do the placement and you pay them a fee. And then you can go as far as just them doing everything. Literally, you hand the keys over to them and they do everything, and you have to pay them, obviously, a percentage of the monthly payments. But as you're getting into the real estate, let someone else let someone else handle it as you learn the ropes. It's worth the investment. Yeah, I think the one I had was, if I remember right, they paid first month's mortgage. Then after that, it was 10% of every mortgage after that, of every renter's payment. And it was worth it because it allowed me to read over the contract, learn how everything's done, see how much is done, and yeah, so highly recommend it. Know your state's laws for sure, so you don't get caught in a bind. Squatters, stuff like that. If someone decides they don't want to pay, yeah, mortgages for investment properties often require 20-25%. Yep. The good thing is, I know for if you're doing a conventional mortgage, you can do a 15, 20, or 30-year loan, depending on what you can afford. Right now, mortgage interest rates are very low. Hard to find an honest property manager. Is that what you mean, PM? Sometimes went through three of them and then decided to get out. I use a reputable company. There's a company that it's very reputable that I use for property management for that kind of stuff. And then it's all about location. It's all about the schools. If you're looking at getting a rental property for a family, it's all about the schools. If you're looking at getting to corporate, it's all about the location in terms of a city, which you can bring in different types of tenants. But if you want a good quality renters that usually don't give you a lot of drama, it's all about the schools. The higher quality schools, the higher quality renters you have. 15 to 30 year mortgage. Optimally 15, but if you can't swing it, you can't swing it. Yep, that's right, Joe, for sure. I wouldn't call it a double top. I think it's just a consolidation phase, especially with the bonds starting to roll over. Oh, but they're not. XLF is starting to climb hard. So I would say a consolidation phase. Qs are starting to roll over, though. We'll see how it reacts. Yeah, it's a little off topic, but we're just waiting to see if the price breaks. I'm just talking about some investment strategies, but I'm watching the market. We can keep the post into the general room, though. If you want to talk about real estate stuff, let's keep the post to the general room. What will a 10% market correction feel like? I mean, in this market, it'll feel like doomsday for sure. The thing is, though, when it does actually happen, it'll happen so fast your head will spin. Like it won't be like a month correction. When it actually does happen, it'll blow through it. It'll churn down, baby. So you got to be ready. All right, so I got a little bit of red candles here for 52.71. What are you looking for in the sectors right now in terms of entry for SPY? I'm watching the XLF and particularly XLK, and I'm monitoring all the other XCS to see how they react. The bonds, especially here, because we have this crazy action here of this is a lot of movement for bonds, particularly intraday movement. We've got this big upward movement, sell off, and now we're up again to this upward levels. And SPY is now correspondingly showing a little bit of weakness here, not much. VIX is now 1634. We didn't quite reach the bottom of the pivot. So right now I'm watching for VIX. I'm watching to see what the bonds do. XLF, how is it going to continue to rage? And then I'll come back to SPY here. The futures right now are doing the same thing. They're consolidating at the top and 452.71. So the VIX, XLF, bonds, those are the big three. I'm watching XLK as well. EU banned U.S. citizen. Really interesting. Yeah, I mean, the news from the coronavirus isn't done yet. I mean, it's going to get bad. This is the summer months. Wait till it gets cold out. Wait till the winter months. Correction, the European Union recommends the countries to impose a travel ban. I see. What's your thought process now since the 8-minute chart is showing a squeeze? Consolidation. Yeah, so you have two black crosses on the 5-minute squeeze, which means we're just in a consolidation period, squeeze period right here. Hovering right on the 8. So I'm not seeing any weakness, but I'm not seeing any bullishness right now. We're right on the 8. Uh-oh, I got to go back to my pie and mine my pie. That's the only crypto I own now, if you can call it that, is mining pie. It's funny stuff. Seems like a good time to go to the gym. I was thinking the same thing. I'm probably going to head that way here in a second. Yep, I'm sure it is. But you know what? I'm sure people said the same thing about Bitcoin back in the day. So, what you got today? Biceps and triceps, baby. And then some cardio. I need to create a 3-minute. How many days on that? What do you mean? So 452.79, still consolidation on the 8 EMA. This may be a dumb question, but how do you make calls in the VIX? You can trade options on VIX. Do you have any opinions on the fact that the government is not pushing a healthier lifestyle? Seems like if we lowered, we could reduce. Yeah, I do. I'm not going to talk about it now. I think we've gone off talking a lot today. I'll save it for another day. Obviously, I'm big into fitness. I think a healthy lifestyle would do wonders, but to each his own. If anybody is in Colorado around the December area and likes to do some skiing, I'll be out there. If you want to meet up, maybe have a cold drink or something like that, that'd be nice to meet some people until we can get an official Options Millionaire conference set up, which would be awesome. Plan on that in December. All right, VIX dropping down here. XLF is red as well. Bonds are big red candle there. Big sell-off here in the VIX. So 1626. So we did pop the lows. Qs are bullish there. Q's got a slight green candle. I'll be in Vail Resort. Shake. Official L1 meetup in December. I love it. I love it. Thanks for the invite, but I live in Europe and I've never been to the USA. Well, maybe one day we could do a European Options Millionaire conference as well. I'd love to. I've never been able to explore Europe as a civilian, so I'd love to do that. Yeah, I should be okay with it. 452.79. I've always wanted to go to the Scottish Highlands. I've always wanted to go there. Yep, Iceland for sure. Always want to go to Iceland. I just want to meet everybody, man. This is one of the best things about this community is that, I'm starting, meet friends from all over the world and different perspectives, different points of view, different thought processes, different geographies. Norway, I'd love to go to Norway. Yeah. I'd love to do that R2 for sure. 452.78. So yeah, I think chances are good we could go higher, but right now we're just consolidating and you just gotta wait your turn to get in. So yeah, Eddie Tango, yeah, I feel you. Life of a military person. So VIX is starting to gap down. Interesting action there. Drop down completely to 1624. Futures are starting to dip as well. And here comes the downside in SPY. Futures, you got a 45.31. Interesting VIX action. Wow, really already, Jeff? Wow. What do you recommend to control emotional trading? There's some books, Trading of the Zone. There's a couple of different books that are great, but the big thing is experience. The big thing's experience. You gotta once you learn, once you get your hand smacked enough, you'll learn that hey, I shouldn't do that anymore. And you kind of start building in. I can't FOMO anymore. I got to cut my losses. I got to take profits, like stuff like that. You start learning those processes. Now, the big thing is actually learning those processes. If you're someone who just doesn't, who's stubborn, you continue to take 40% loss, 40% loss, 40% loss. You continue not to take profits at 20% and watch them reverse down to nothing or negative, then you're not going to learn, unfortunately. So you have to be disciplined enough to learn from your mistakes. So I definitely recommend trading logs, and then like in the little detail section where you don't just put technical explanations, you put in, hey, this was a great trade, but my emotions made me hold on to this too long. And instead of taking a 15% win, I instead held on to it for a 5% loss. Like you got to put those kind of notes in your trading log. That's how you become successful and learn. So that way you can say, hey, the past 3 trades in a row were great trades. I just got greedy and I ended up losing. So that's where you can differentiate, because you may have good trades But you do stuff like that and you start changing your system, even though you made good trades. It's not your system you need to fix. It's your mind. So that's why a trading log is so important. You mentioned on your trade quantity over a couple of weeks is decreased. Is this because your indicators you posted on your? No, it's just. I mean, the 8 and 21 crossover is one of the last confirmatory indicators I use. It's just most of the time we have this low volume buy up, and I'm waiting for a confident, like a really confident, high confidence play. And this kind of grind up higher kind of goes against my eye, so I'm just kind of waiting for things to shake out. I'm playing a little tighter to the chest. Probably more than I need to be, but so be it. Oh, nice, Osby. Nice. I didn't know I was greedy till I started trading. Well, you always what if yourself to death. I could close this at 10%, but what if it goes to 50? Might as well, geology. Yep. All my losses are one screen. Might as well. Yep. What if it goes to 50%? What if it goes to 30%? But you don't think about what if I hold this another 15 minutes and it goes to minus 10%. All right. So yeah, so here we are, the 21 EMA on the SPY. Watch the VIX, though. The VIX has fallen as well. Got a little green candle there, though. Yep. And that's a very common issue, Daniel. Very common. Do you ever go for max reps in the gym? Yes and no. I don't do it for underweight. I think it's the biggest thing I do is I'll do a 20 rep squat max, which is it's taxing to say the least. It'll make you question everything. All right, 452.51. We finally crossed to the 21 for the first time since Friday. So I've asked a few questions today for the first time I have watching you for several weeks. Just want to say thank you. Hey, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. Yeah, are you in the Discord? Yeah, come over and join the Discord if you're not. Tom Platt style. Yeah, buddy, that's old school. Matt says, that's my problem. I'll make a great trade on the way up, just waiting for a little more, and then I lose. I'll wait for it to come back, and it ends up going to zero. Yep. Yep, you need to know when you make a great trade and when you just make a stupid emotional mistake. Thanks, Josh. I'm glad you like it. What would you be looking for to make a call on SPY? I see it under the 21. I'm watching the 34 closely. I'll be watching this VIX. It's starting to get a little green on a downward trend. XLF is still on the increase. I'll be looking for it. See, there's a reversal in the Qs, or on the NASDAQ, I mean. Little green here on the futures. Q's got a nice green candle there, and SPY's at the 21. I'd love to buy at the 34. I don't know if we'll get to the 34. We'll see. If the VIX continues to fall, we had a big red candle on the VIX, big sell-off in the VIX, and no movement on the SPY. At least no upward movement on the SPY. So, got to be careful. But I'll be looking for volume. Hopefully the 34 will hold. I'd like to take a position here on the 34 and hold throughout the day. The painful learning that I had was time decay on winning plays. Yeah, so that's another good point, Sean, is that you cannot hold on for dear life, quote unquote, with options the same way you can with stocks. You can buy a stock at $100, and in 2 years from now, it'll still be worth the same at $100. You can't do that with options. You cannot hold on for dear life with options. They decay. If you buy an option when a stock is $100 and then the stock drops to $90 and you hold on to that same option, when the stock comes back up to 100, you're not breaking even. You're still down. You're going to be down considerably. Now you have to let that stock get to like 105 in order for you to break even because of decay. Decay is built in. And a lot of people don't really understand that. You can that's why you can be right with options and still lose money. The day Powell spoke, I sold my puts for 8% profit before the market skyrocketed. Nearly got destroyed. Well done. Well, you did good there. Oh, nice, Matt. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to be as responsive as I can on this while still doing some good trading. So, all right, here we're coming down to the 34. Let's see what happens. VIX is green, back up into its range. NASDAQ is got a slight green candle, almost a gravestone doji. All right, so double red here on the futures. Hard things are hard. To put it simple, yes, you're right. Yep. What do you think about credit spreads? They have their place for sure. Yeah, I do have a great video on the Greeks as well, if in my educational series here on YouTube. So I highly encourage you to read that. A good entry level video on how to read and understand the Greeks. You need to understand the Greeks if you want to be successful long term options trader. I couldn't understand time decay myself. I couldn't understand it. You know, when I first started trading options years and years ago, I had that exact thought. I was like, why is the price increasing and I'm still losing money? Like, I don't understand it. It was because the price wasn't increasing fast enough to overcome theta. It was a slow little grind. I'm like sitting here, I remember watching the stock that I was investing in. I was like, it's going up and I'm losing money. And I couldn't understand why. Years and years. I remember that. So it's very important to understand the Greeks. Does time decay matter when you do not hold these day trades that you do? It doesn't. It doesn't matter too much if you're scalping. If you're holding for 4 or 5 hours, yeah, they do, because theta starts coming to play. IV crush was the most confusing thing when I started. Yep, that happens too. A lot of GameStop investors back in the winter and the spring learned the hard way about IV crush. All right, right now I get $8, 8.10 on the bid ask. September 3rd, 45.50 calls on the SPX. Bonds look like they want to flip over. If bonds come down, XLF continues to climb, VIX continues to fall, we'll have some bullish action on the SPY here. I might consider buying at the 34. 34 on the 5, that's right. That 34 on the 5 is usually a pretty strong floor. Have you swing traded SPY at all, or do you just day trade? Right now, I'm only day trading. My entire career, I've always swung trade, whatever you call it. But now I'm only day trading. September 3rd, 45.50. So the 34 EMA right now is 452.30 on the 5-minute chart. VIX is red and falling, which is bullish for this particular situation. XLF is rounding over as well. XLK is flat. Correct. I only day trade SPY. Do you have any tips for starting out on swing trading SPY options? I would learn historical learn historical charting, where you can study the past charts, learn how the cyclicals interact, and watch volume closely. Nope, I'm still here. $7.98. I got $7.90 and $8 on the bid ask. VIX is still falling, 1624, breaking lows again. XLF is green. Bond still falling. XLF has got a green candle. Definitely looks bullish here. Don't want to jump the gun, but I'm close to taking calls in the event that this holds the way it is. I said September 3rd, 45.50 on SPX. Let me take a look at the SPY. Let me bring up some SPY. I'll go with the September 3rd, 454s. 451s. 451s. Push-up time, just about. Second lieutenant, just about. Hey, today's my last day as a lieutenant. Those in the military. Put on captain tomorrow. Should be fun. Thank you. Pretty big milestone for the military people. What are you looking at to decide how far OTM you are trading? I'm looking at volume. I'm looking at DTEs. Not to mention that it falls within my realm. So like 5 days, as long as there's enough volume. 4-day DTEs right now? I like where they're at, so I'm going to stick with those. Thanks. Appreciate that, y'all. I was prior enlisted. That's why I'm only a captain after 10 plus years. Almost 11. Almost 11. 452.40 coming down to the 34 EMA VIX. Green candle hovering 1627. Bonds are still falling over. I like this setup, man. I think this is a little consolidation before another bull run. I like this setup for calls. Spent 4 years listed before OCS. Nice. No gym yet. Not yet. Not yet. More rank, more paperwork. Not when you're a flyer. Yeah, when you're a flyer, rated pilots are a little different earlier in their careers. They don't have all their managerial responsibilities that a non-rated officer has. 452.44. Qs are still trading flat. XLF is still green. Bonds falling off. I do like this setup for at least a quick scalp call on a little upturn off the 34. Thank you, S Geometry. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. I don't. NAS options, no. Just because of the consolidation here. I mean, if I took a scalp and it turned into a stronger play, yeah. But right now, there's no bodies. That means it's all wicks. There's not much conviction either way. It's just purely wicks here. Volume's dying off here, so it would be a scalp. But I'm not taking a position yet until I see a little strength here. XLK is increasing. XLF is still trading flat. Bonds are still off, but a little green. All right, there we go. So, little red candles flipping back to green. Long wicks. Not much is going on right here. In between the 34.21, 80 MEOs above it. All right, so I have a little green candle there. Diminishing volume. Crossing up through the 8 and the 21. I've got 840 on the bid. Not yet, Daniel. Not yet. Getting close, though. VIX is still falling. Stand by. VIX is falling. Let's see what the bonds are doing. Bonds are still off there. Standby always gets me excited. It does, doesn't it? Little red and green flipping back and forth. Let's look at VIX, still down. SPY trying to increase. Yep. Ace took some calls there. Nice, nice. So NASDAQ's got some red there. Future coming back down. Bounce on the VIX. XLF is still trading dead flat. Daniel, that is correct. Yes, that's correct. All right, NASDAQ's got a red candle. Futures got a red as well. SPY is trading flat. Anyway, y'all, it is 11:45 my time, 12:45 Eastern. I think that's going to do it for me today. Crazy bullish action in the morning, followed by this little chop action here in the late morning, going into the early afternoon. Still be monitoring the market. I'll still be monitoring the Patreon as well. Welcome to all the new Patreons. Dig in, ask questions, email, DM me with any questions you got. I'll be happy to answer them as expeditiously as possible. Welcome to all the new people on YouTube. Big day today, 10,000 people for the first time on YouTube. 4 months, 10,000 people. Good stuff. So, Geology, I've answered that question quite a bit in the past few days. So welcome for all the new YouTube people. Join in as well. If you're new, please join in the Discord, ask questions. Like and subscribe. It helps us join. It helps us grow, teach others how to do this properly. So tomorrow will be a Patreon only exclusive day. And one of the benefits of becoming a Patreon member is that when I'm not streaming on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I am streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays on Patreon. So it's another benefit of joining, and that's in the Discord Patreon stream voice channel. So be on the lookout for that if you are new to the Patreon community. Anyway, that is it for me. I'll still be monitoring the market as well as the Discord, so be on the lookout for that. If not, I will see you all bright and early tomorrow on the Patreon stream. Thanks for being here. See ya.